So we are moving on then from the Atlantic. You take your pick. Are we going Metro, Central, or Pacific?
Let's do Metro. Let's stay in the East.
Okay. I guess the biggest headline for Carolina is that they lost everyone.
I like a bunch of moves that they made, though.
Sure. But, like, can we address that, like, a lot of players went up? No?
Yeah.
Okay. But yes, let's talk about the moves they've made to bring people in. We can look past. We'll talk about the players that went elsewhere when we talk about their teams.
Yep. Well, first of all, they've got, in terms of like the prospects that they
picked up the Ghost Bear pig. I hate him so much at the same time as I respect him so much. He ruined a great Gopher season.
Yeah,
that'll hurt. Like, single-handedly, too. I've never seen a defenseman dismantle an entire championship roster by himself for a D3 program. That aside from the fact that I was present for it and it seemed like the Gophers shot themselves in the foot throughout the entire game a year ago in Tampa, that one might have been the toughest one for me to watch. The Union one was just like, at least I was put out of my misery early. Like, there was no chance, but that one really stung when that was a locked win. I didn't think the Gophers were locked to beat Quinnipiac. They should have won for sure, but it wasn't a lock like it was against Union, and they got dismantled by Shane Gostisbehere.
Yeah, and they picked him with a deadline last year. They just re-signed him.
I know.
But I mean, the other big move they make in the back end, obviously they lose Pesce, but you bring in Sean Walker for $3.6 million for 5 years. That is a phenomenal signing. You've also got the young guys, Jackson Blake, Bradley Nadeau coming in next year, but they bring in Tyson Jost on a 1-year deal. That's fine, I think. I actually really like the William Carrier. I mean, oh my God, they gave him 5 years. That might be a bit aggressive, but like $2 million, he gives you like really solid two-way depth play. He was a big.
Who I'm thinking about right now?
The gold. What?
Who am I thinking about right now?
I have no idea.
As soon as you said 5 years, $2 million, that's basically the Freddie. That's basically the Freddie contract.
Yeah, well, Carrier also was a big part of a Stanley Cup winning team, so there you go. But like $2 million for him, he's going to be like a real nice bottom six addition for them. I liked Eric Robinson 1 year, $950K. He's been a solid depth player everywhere he's gone. Like, I'd like the depth that they addressed, and they didn't really dole out any crazy money, and they re-signed Slavin for less than 6.5 on a long-term deal.
So the AAV is insane on Slavin, but he is 30, like 6 years. I don't think it's bad for a player like him. That's where people will like fight back on it. But dude, under 6.5 for a guy like Jacob Slavin, what do they have on him?
Hey, yeah, and I mean the deal that he just was on was fucking 7 years, 5.3 per. And I mean, I'm pretty sure historically he's not a guy that gets hurt. Yeah, I mean he's only not played 82 games. He's only missed. No, he has no big injury seasons either. And like dynamic skater again, like he does. Like those are the profile play. They don't really get. They typically last forever.
Did they re-sign Anderson? Or is that his previous contract? I thought he was up this year. I don't know why.
No, he signed a 2-year last year.
Oh, okay.
And then Kochetkov they kept for
$2 million for next 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess they signed that one too last season. But like, actually 2 seasons.
That's pretty good money for a guy like him. Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, again, like the one thing I'm sure that they're like, why did we do that? Would be the Kotkaniemi thing, but whatever. And I mean, they've got Kuznetsov back there for 3.9. That's not going to kill you either. But yeah, then they re-up Martinook, $3 million. Stahl already signed this past year. Like, I like a lot of the depth that they addressed. That's what I'm very curious to see. I have no idea.
I really thought Natchez for Ullmark with other subsequent pieces was like destined.
Well, yeah, and there's in the past couple of years, there's always been Natchez for DeBrusk plus something out there. So that's gonna be the big one. They still have to do Seth Jarvis. That's gonna be a nice little deal, probably for him, you'd imagine. And they have over 10 million. So I think they addressed like a big part of their lineup with guys that play exactly how Rod Brind'Amour wants them to play. And I love that Sean Walker signing. That is a phenomenal signing for 3.6 million, like A+.
Fair. All right, that's team number 1. Columbus is interesting.
Oof. I mean, someone was gonna go out and give Sean Monahan money. I didn't think he was gonna get a 5 by 5.5.
No,
I mean,
if he stays healthy, it's a great deal. It's just, is he gonna stay healthy?
Yeah, exactly. That's gonna be the big question. I mean,
but him and Johnny Hockey, like,
yeah.
But let's be real. Like, I know it sounds like we're just grabbing for stuff, but do you think that plays into them pursuing him, being like, we got to get Johnny going? Like, maybe this is the guy that can do it, because they've got so much sunk cost into Johnny Gaudreau. Let's find a way to make that work. Like, if you get more out of Gaudreau, you're basically looking at it being a $15 million 2 players. And they're like, hey, we got the guy that we thought we got. Let's call it good.
I mean, I would have a hard time believing that had a ton to do with it, considering you probably could have thrown money at someone else that would have done that. I mean, like, they could have gone and thrown money at Lindholm. Same thing. That they actually were a part of the best line in hockey that year.
Yeah, they would have had to give him basically a matching contract to Johnny.
And I mean, they did the Monahan thing. They still have they have 19 million in space still. So if they're convinced that they're going to compete next year, and that those signings last year on the back end and the trades that they made for the back end, like, that wasn't a mistake, and they're going to have a bounce back year, I would imagine that Lindholm would have been the exact player that they would have been targeting. Maybe they did, and Lindholm said no thanks. But like, if you want to reunite Johnny Hockey and get him going again, you go out and get Lindholm, who literally, when it was him, Lindholm and Tkachuk, that was the best line in hockey that year. So I would have think that probably would have made more sense to throw the bag at him. But yeah, I mean, I guess Monahan's the one big move they made.
No, right? Like, Lindholm was going to Boston this entire time.
Yeah, well, he said as much too. He was like, the second Boston called, I was like, yeah, we're good, done deal. So who knows? Like, they definitely could have been. I would imagine they probably were. I mean, I'd imagine there are several teams in on him. So, I mean, it's interesting. So, I don't really know if they can really expect much of a different outcome next year, if I'm being honest. Like, it's crazy. The 4 healthy defensemen they have right now. What?
Are they kind of like okay having one more year of maybe getting some draft capital? Or are they happy with their pool?
Well, the prospect pool is solid. They've made a bunch of good picks, but
Werenski, Severson, Provorov, Goodbranson. Ooh, Goodbranson. One more year of Provorov, you got to think that he's going to be traded.
Yeah, I would imagine, because, I mean, again, just looking at this roster, it's not going to go well. Like, it'll be hard for them to be worse than they were, strictly because, I mean, first of all, that was a flawed roster to begin. Oh, my God, it happened again?
What?
Oh, you're frozen. It says I'm not, but I'm sure now my internet's about to crash. Oh, I'm back. It's telling me I'm not.
Well, so far you
keep
are
fading in and out, but whatever. I'll just keep. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be difficult for them to be worse than they were last year, even if they made 0 additions, because at one point, pretty much every single player on that roster was out injured, like including their entire defense. Like that certainly didn't help. It was always a flawed roster, though. I mean,
did they hire a coach yet?
I feel like I thought I saw news that they did.
I know who they were looking at originally, but I don't know that they made a hire. I forget where Cap Friendly shows that. I don't know if they did. I know McClellan was being rumored.
Yeah, did they make that officially?
I don't know if they did.
Oh my! It is
Columbus Blue Jackets coach. Nah, it's still got Pascal Vincent listed.
That's crazy. All right. Well. All right. So there you go, I guess. I will.
The biggest question is going to be: are they going to let Fantilli play?
Yeah, I know, right? And like
now,
Johnson, I think they have to sign him too. Yeah, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, Johnson needs to be signed.
I give up. Like what? Yeah, and I mean they're going to figure out. Holy hell, this is crazy.
And Sillinger and Marchenko. You're back now. You're good. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about on Columbus, or should we move on?
Yeah, I mean the only other thing is we're gonna be on Patrick Laine watch potentially Minnesota.
Well, he's going to the Wild. Didn't you hear?
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
All right, then we've got the New Jersey Devils. I mean, they brought in Brett Pesce, which is awesome, on a ridiculously good contract. Or do you not agree?
I'm gonna leave and try again. This is unbelievable.
He's coming back.
I'm losing my mind. It's so
all right, he'll be back. Cosgrove, I saved this one from earlier. What's up, dog? I don't know. Does anyone in the comments have winners, losers from free agency? Feel free to throw in your thoughts, and I'll make sure I bookmark some of them. Don't throw in the Atlantic because we've already moved past them, but throw in whatever you have. Z, you're back. We're live. New Jersey Devils. Do you agree with me that Brett Pesce's contract is delightful?
Yeah. How many years was it?
It goes through 29-30, so 6.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah, it's fine.
5.5.
Bring in him. Yeah, he's just gonna stay healthy. And then Brendan Dillon, 3x4. Both the defense, big defensive defenseman. Dillon can give you some of what they were lacking before. Again, like the big thing for them is like they just have to stay healthy. Like that's it. And we'll see what happens with Jacob Markstrom. Again, assuming full health. And actually, right. Assuming full health, they should be significantly better. I actually sneaky like the Kovacevic pickup with the trade with Montreal. He looked really good in a short stint with Montreal this past year. He also fills it like they clearly have a profile of player that they're targeting on the back end, like big. And then you have guys like Dillon, McDermott, Kovacevic, who are like physical and tough. So
what if they're healthy? What's their top 6? Like, what's their
that's another
line? They got a lot of bodies on defense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 1, 2, 3.
Like Pesce, Dillon,
Dollar,
Hughes, Nemec, and Hamilton, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I forgot
McDermott
Hamilton was listed on IR.
Kovacevic, like there's 3 guys that aren't even playing.
Yeah, that's 3 that'll be in and out of the lineup. There's like a 6, 7. And I mean, again, we know there's going to be
for that swing spot. Yeah, for sure. That's fair. All right, that's about all we have for them then. Pretty straightforward. New York Islanders. I'm going to be honest, I didn't see anything that happened with them. I'm now looking and I already see that they got Anthony Duclair. That's fun. Good for them. Anything crazy that you saw go on with them?
Well, I mean, like other than the comical contracts they signed last year, but like the Duclair's a real nice piece of business with Duclair with the 4 by 3.5. I think that's an awesome deal. And again, like another forward that can play at the same speed as like a Matty Barzal. Like they've historically just wanted these big hulking. It feels like they have like 2 fourth lines that can like play solid defensively, but the offense is always be limited. So like the more forwards they can get, like Anthony Duclair, who are like high skill, high pace, I think the better. So they're not just like so vanilla. I was curious to see if they would do much else. I guess they don't have a ton of space to work with in the first place. You know, that's what happens when you sign guys like, I don't know, Scott Mayfield, Pierre Engvall to like 7-year deals. I guess that's kind of what happens. The space disappears pretty quick. And you'd imagine that Sorokin has another like bounce back. I mean, he looked rough at times this year. So, I mean, again, like considering he has at least half of a bounce back, he's going to be a solid goaltender. So, yeah, the only move there really Duclair, but still a nice piece of business, I think. It's crazy that he's 28 years old. This is like his 10th team.
Right. It is. It does seem like he's been in the league forever. I love that under dead cap buyout history, they have Rick DiPietro still listed, even though it's $0. So like for the next 5 years, it still just has $0, $0, $0, $0, $0.
Yeah, he's still around.
He can't ever leave. He can't.
What if that was the penalty for that contract? Like you don't have to pay him, but he does have to be around. He has to be in different places in the arena every game.
You have to have a buyout banner dedicated to him. All right, New York Rangers. What happened here?
Well, I guess I should start with you. How do you feel about the Riley Smith to New York Rangers trade?
I didn't see what the return is yet. I just saw that it happened.
It was not much.
I think at this point, they're okay just getting the cap space. So I'm not too worried about it. As long as they didn't take back a bad contract, I'm good.
Pittsburgh gets 2025 fifth and a 2027 second round pick.
Yep, no bodies. I'm good with it. Move on.
There you go. Other than that, they bring in Sam Carrick
for them.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, they bring in Sam Carrick 3x1.
Penguins retained. Wasn't too much though, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, is Trouba going to be traded?
It's going to be interesting to watch.
Funny thing is, I'm pretty sure he just switched to a no trade clause from a no move. They could literally do him just like they did Barclay Goodrow.
They could.
He could be a San Jose Shark. San Jose is a borderline playoff team next year.
They just brought in Toffoli. Like,
I know, right? Well, we'll get into them soon.
Yeah, I don't think they did much else, right?
Yep, Rangers, boring. Fugazi, losers. Moving on. The Philadelphia Flyers, aside from being afraid of Zeev Buium's agent, what did they do here? Let's see.
Not much. They re-upped Hathaway. They got Mitchkov signed. So that's awesome. And then I don't believe they did much else. Oh, yeah, they re-upped Eric Johnson 1x1. I don't think they did
not extend any options to Carter Hart. Good on them for not being scumbags.
Yeah, absolutely. Smell you later, bitch. I don't think they did anything.
In similar news, all the Blackhawks executives are getting reinstated. So
we didn't have to do that.
No, we'll move on. All right.
I have notes.
Let me see here. I'm trying to even remember. So Pittsburgh had the trade for Kevin Hayes, which I already told you I'm actually kind of a fan of. I don't have any issue with adding him. Did I miss anything else? They brought in Beauvillier, which for 1 year at that cap hit, no issue. Somewhat of a prove it. Brought in Matt Grzelcyk. If you're still with me, Z, tell me, what do you think about Matty Grzelcyk 1 year, 2.75? Are you with me?
Yep. For now.
Okay. Good. Tell me, Grzelcyk, 2.75 1 year deal. How should I feel about it?
I think it's fine. I mean, big time reclamation project. A big reason he got held out of the lineup so much in Boston was just like, hey, he couldn't stay healthy. And then both Bruce Cassidy and Jim Montgomery couldn't decide what they wanted their decor to look like. And when they decided to go full size, he was the odd man out. At his peak, when he was playing with McAvoy and he was healthy, like, that was the best D pair in the league. Like, when they were on the ice together, they had 75% of the goal share. Expected was like 20 or 60%. 20. Where the fuck did that come from? 60%. Like, he is a dynamic puck mover. Again, you're not going to get a ton of offense, but it's one of those players that, like, again, this all comes down to his health because that's been a major issue. But one of the better puck movers in terms of doing the heavy lifting from getting the puck into the offensive zone. He was literally the only player who could do that 2 years ago in the playoffs when they lost in the first round of the Panthers. He was legitimately the only defenseman who was successful in transitioning the puck out of the zone. So it's very much a Kyle Dubas like darling. That's like the exact type of player I would imagine that they were targeting. But he's going to have to stay healthy. That's been a big, big problem forever. And like anytime he gets hit, you're like, oh no. And the big thing with him too, he's gotten hurt, I think, in like 3 different playoff series. Like it always happens. So like if he gets caught on the forecheck and he gets crushed, he's probably done. But 1 year, 2.75 for a top puck, like a super mobile puck mover, he's excellent. So I think 1 year deal. If it was like a 3 year, that'd be probably an issue. But I think this is more than fine.
I like that. Tristan Jarry hasn't been traded yet. That's probably never going to happen. That's a weird look for Kyle Dubas, unfortunately. I'll
let you real quick wax poetic about the Pittsburgh, and I'm just going to grab a couple beers from the fridge.
Wax poetic. There's nothing poetic about the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. It's we'll say that they're in a weird crossroads where there's an outside chance of making the playoffs. I'm not really holding my breath unless something drastically changes or they get more production from some of these guys, but it's not fun. It's the beginning of the end. I'm at the point where this is the last year on Sidney Crosby's current deal. I want him to be happy and have whatever he wants. I'm basically handing him a piece of paper that has a blank for him to fill out. Take as much or as little as you want. Decide if you want the team to be competitive. If he just wants buku bucks and wants to coast out and retire a Penguin, let him do it. If he wants to take a small deal so that the team can try and go for another cup, sweet. And if he says he wants to be traded to a contender because he wants to try and win another cup elsewhere, let him do it. He's earned whatever the hell he wants to do. That's really the extent of my thoughts on the Pittsburgh Penguins. But I like Bunting being part of the team. I think he was actually like a pretty good pickup, even though I figured it was just grabbing a Dubas disciple. But I don't know. I don't have anything crazy to say about the Penguins. I don't have much optimism this year, which most years I can talk myself into them being in like the 3-4 spot for the Metro. I'm just kind of resigned at this point. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm not overly optimistic, unfortunately. Which leads us to probably the funniest team of the past like week. The Washington Capitals, dude. Right now, they are at negative 13 million in cap space. They have done some of the strangest trades, signings, whatever. And their draft day was pretty bizarre as well. Like, what the hell is happening with the Washington Capitals? And like, how many names are people going to have to learn for this team now? It's so funny.
I actually like a lot of what they did in free agency. It's just I don't know what's gonna happen. And I mean, I love like Matt Waugh. First of all, that's a fucking great player.
Not a great deal though.
I think he's gonna be. I think that's fine. Honestly, I like a lot of what he does.
Also, they don't even have him. Oh, they do have him on here now. You're telling me that a 29-year-old Matt Waugh getting just short of $6 million for, I believe, 6 or 7 seasons. 7 seasons. You think that's good?
Yep.
All right. I'll yield. I don't agree.
That's fine. Chychrun 1 year, didn't give him a crazy package for him like that. They bring in a guy like Duhaime 2 years at less than $2 million. I think that's fine, especially with what they're going for. I love bringing in Mangiapane. Love that, and we'll see what.
Mangiapane's kind of weird.
I think he's a fucking great player. Calgary sucked last year.
He's a great player, but like, I feel like they didn't. I feel like all that they should care about is Ovechkin chasing Gretzky's record, and I don't know that unless Pierre-Luc Dubois pans out, I don't see how they've done anything to nudge that needle at all. Like, who's playing with Ovechkin?
I mean, fucking at this point, who knows? But I think Dubois is going to be better. I don't think he is.
Well, he can't be worse.
Right. I don't know. I mean, again, yeah, I like what they did in the back end. I hated their whole fucking defense core last year. Like, I think they absolutely sucked. And I love have Charlie Lindgren and Logan Thompson in net for less than $2 million.
That is fun. That is very fun. No, I agree with that. And on
Like,
paper,
awesome.
I agree. Like, let's take any like intricacies of the game out of play. Let's take like chemistry, lines, D pairings, all out. They added talented players. I just don't really have a vision yet for how it all comes together and fills out a lineup and how they put together a product that's going to go out and be like, they're going to compete and they'll be a fringe playoff team, but like, I don't see them being like a team that goes in and has a chance to win in the first round of the playoffs. Do you?
I mean, I don't know. Again, I still think that like getting Dubois gives them a better center than they had as long as he stays healthy. Because I mean, Backstrom is probably done. Again, I don't care what you're saying right now. I like Mangiapane a lot. I think he is a great player, especially with that profile of team. And I love what they did. God damn it. I love what they did on defense. So there you go.